How's it going, guys? Good morning. I'm MixMastaPJ, and with me I have Zero the 14th. Say hello. Say hello, Zero the 14th. Maybe not.
Hello, good morning.
There we go. Okay. This is G.I. Joe, a real American hero on the NES. You may have seen this game at a couple other marathons. We've had a few new developments here that have been neat little tricks that we've been trying to land in a marathon, and hopefully this is the day that we're able to do it. So, this game came out in 1990. It's one of Hasbro's very first games that you have to see them use that name for in America here. And it's a very difficult game as by typical Taxon standards on the NES back then. But all the characters that we're going to be using today have some different stats. So I want to show you guys what those guys have before I just jump right into gameplay here. So Duke is the main character we'll start with, and you'll see him the least in this game. We'll play with him and switch out of him immediately, and then we'll play with him for a little bit later, but nothing crazy. And then Blizzard is not great either, but he's going to lead our second mission as we get started there. Then we start getting into the heavy hitters of the run. Snake Eyes can jump really, really, really high, and he's got a decent melee weapon. Captain Gridiron's going to do all our heavy hitting up close. His punch is stronger than anybody else, and then the guy you're going to see the most of is this guy right here, Rock and Roll. No, he can't jump. No, he's not. Doesn't have good stamina, but that weapon power is insane, and we're going to be abusing that and trying to escort that gun to the forefront of all the battles that we can. But without further ado, let me reset it here, and we'll get started. Time will be when I hit start here on the title screen, so we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so what he's doing here, you want to try to minimize screen lag and not have to worry about all these extra bullets. So he's shooting everything, trying to keep a very minimal amount of bullets on the screen. And you want to, if you want to try to damage boost forward instead of back, if you're a little too far to the left, you'll get knocked back, and that's not good. And there's health pickups and everything you want to get there. You want to have Rock and Roll of a certain amount of health by the end of the game too, which is something you'll see later. But here, already at the first boss, and now we switch to Snake Eyes because he's got this amazing grenade speed. And then you try to get over to the left, and there, one cycle on the boss, very nice.
Yeah, it was a neat little strat there in the middle too, where we're trying to keep Rock and Roll in a damage boosted state so that we can just kind of run through a lot of those enemies there. Just a little bit more consistent than the strategy we were using previously. And then in 1, 2 here, we've got a whole lot of...
See these checks? What you have to do is you have to...
Sorry, I think he's on a little bit of a lag there.
Yeah, you have to get all the checks, and then they'll let you go into the boss. Yeah, I think we got a little bit of audio lag.
I'll just let you take it away,
now
Zero.
Here we are in the third level. Each mission has 3 levels except for mission 6. Okay. Now, basically here, you want to try to collect these gun upgrades with Rock and Roll, because we want to get his gun to max. You're not going to get it here, but hopefully we'll have that by mission 3. This is the most RNG heavy point in this game. You want this boss to just stand still and not do anything. Unfortunately here, he's jumping around and being a major pain. Ideally, he'll stand still, and you'll just be able to kill him easily.
Yeah, I put that as of 2 stars out of 5 stars on how I'd rate that that particular boss fight.
Yeah, that was not a great pattern. And now, this level, also the only time we use Blizzard. Blizzard is terrible. But here, basically Blizzard is done now, unless we have to switch to someone to die in case you get knocked into a pit or something. So here we just keep going through. You got to try to avoid the rockets and not get knocked into a pit.
Oh, I switched to Rock and Roll. That's not good. We'll just take a game over here. And it'll be faster.
That's not good.
Nah, it's all right though. We will survive
that's fine. That's the only thing that you ever want to use Blizzard for.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty places to get the gun upgrades back.
Yeah, especially this level. This level's got a ton of them, to be honest. They're all just hidden in a couple of places here. But if I was going to lose Rock and Roll somewhere, this is a good level to do
Blizzard
it.
has...
So we'll make sure we go Rock and Roll, Gridiron, and back in the battle here.
There's there'll be little invisible spots underneath.
Should probably just
that you
Gridiron
can
through
walk,
here.
and there's 2 gun upgrades in each of them. Geez, that was close. These guys do not want to cooperate today.
Well, I'm coming at them with a level
like
1
under
gun, so they're
there's an
ready for me
invisible
this
place
time.
You can go and you can grab a couple gun upgrades. Yeah. But you'll be back to level 3 gun in no time.
Yep, not that sweet. There we go.
And you don't really even use the gun here up until the final boss. With the boss of this stage, you're actually punching these little rocket launcher with Captain Gridiron.
That's what we saved him for. Sometimes we use the guns.
Gridiron,
A lot of times we'll use this melee,
He punches a lot of machinery. So you were just jumping up. You have to beat all 8 of those little rocket things.
My goodness.
What?
That's all right. We don't need him at all for level 2, the rest of level 2, so it's not that big of a deal either.
That happens.
I didn't calculate the lower
Yeah,
HP we would have with him from getting there
That's
before.
the only spot we're using Gridiron in this level.
And we get all these gun upgrades again.
But you'll have Rock and Roll will be at his full gun.
Yeah.
Yep. So yep, here now we're just collecting the gun upgrades. Now Rock and Roll's back to where he basically would have been with his gun before. And there'll be a full health up here and everything. These grenade guys will do 4 damage if they hit the grenade. That's quite annoying.
All right.
Yep, so now we're back in business.
Yes. This will take a little bit longer with the gun, but that's
now
all
we're
right.
just going to be using Rock and Roll to fire at their rocket launchers. It's a lot safer. It's kind of like there's another boss later in the game that you can do it really safe with Rock and Roll, or you can do it really risky with Gridiron.
Pretty sure that's the intended developers' approach to
Yeah.
that level as well.
And now... Okay. And yeah, now here we've got some vehicles. There's actually 3 of them in this game. There's the helicopter, there's one that jumps really high that I don't know, and then there's the buzzbore, which is designed by someone that hates people. You'll see the buzzbore shortly, and the controls on it are terrible.
I want to know what the carbon monoxide levels in this building are with indoor helicopters like this.
Yeah, there's absolutely... where's the ventilation in here? It's just... And so here, 3rd check. You're actually going to see the boss of this level is 3 buzzbores. It's a lot nicer to fight them than to have to drive them.
Absolutely. All right, so we're still at rock and roll. That's good. We'll do 4 shots of this one, and then try to kill this 3rd one first. If we can. It's really close time. There we go.
Yeah, the timing on that is so tight, and you can actually get your own buzzbore if you shoot the ceiling there, but why would you want your own buzzbore?
Speaking of tight timing, this level.
This is probably, I'd say, maybe the 2nd most precise level in the game after 5-3. With these jumps, if you're even a fraction late, you're diving into a pit. So now, this is another really fun boss fight. Now, if you see him getting close and switching between punches and guns, you can actually do a little bit of extra damage if you switch between the two, and you can also do that if you duck while you're punching. It just lets you fire off your shots a lot quicker, which you'll probably see the duck punch here.
Oh yeah,
in
for
Mission
sure.
3. Everyone's favorite level in the speedrun, an auto-scroller.
Well, we got some time here in this auto-scroller. Artemis, if you want to give a shout-out to what the great charity we're supporting here today, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. I was
All good.
messing with all the settings over here. Yeah, so so we're supporting the charity Urban Arts. They are to help young students who are trying to become game developers. It's a fantastic charity that we've been supporting for basically the entire time we've been doing this event. I know you get a lot more of the information. Of course, I don't remember exactly what the command is in chat, but let's throw it onto the spot. I would have had it on hand, but no, it's a fantastic charity. That's what we're raising money for all week, so, you know.
Yeah, sorry, we just had a text swap here a little bit ago, so I didn't mean to put Artemis on the spot. I didn't have a whole lot of time to prep with him on that one. So he had no idea it was coming. I just threw it. All right, getting ready for the boss fight here. We got a couple gun upgrades to go, but this will still be a pretty easy fight now. Rock and Roll's got a level 3 gun, just shooting straight up to this guy, and then we can get to our least favorite boss next level here.
Yeah, this is the boss where it can be very easy with rock and roll, or it can be very hard with gridiron, but it's so much more fun to punch this computer in the face. Now this is the buzz bore I was referring to earlier. It grabs onto ledges, and sometimes you don't know which ledge you're grabbing onto, so you think you're going up, but you're actually going down. But it does move a lot faster than walking or jumping, so unfortunately we're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, the mechanics of this buzzbore itself are kind of tricky, but the walking and jumping part, you may have noticed since the beginning of the game, if I've had the opportunity, I've been kind of like hopping, and that's because the Joes travel faster in the air than they do by walking on foot. So there's just a lot of weird speed mechanics in this game that obviously didn't matter to a casual player that we've had to try to exploit here in other gameplay. So we're going to try to keep this guy at maximum HP through here so we can damage boost a couple of times later. And get another check mark over here.
If you do end up losing the buzzbore, there is another one just above where this check is here if you need it, but that's also like an extra, 4 or 5 seconds to get to.
What's that when we've already had
right
a death anyway, so.
And another thing with this game, too, is there's a lot of lag management that you have to do. Like, if you have too many of those bullets on the screen, everything will slow down. So there's a lot of spots like 5-1 is another one where you're constantly trying to make sure you don't have too many bullets on the screen. So that's why he's not just holding down the fire button right now, because that'll...
Yeah, but there was a spot where we did it on purpose there to try and despawn one of those ninja guys. So sprite management, always something you got to worry about on the NES. I mean, all the way back to like Mario 1 and trying to keep as many enemies on the screen to make the next section a little bit easier, etc. That's always been a theme of this console, and I'm glad that this... Oh, we lost it. That's all right. I'm glad that we got to keep that sort of flavor going here. And now you can see Gridiron punch a computer.
And hopefully not get knocked into the pit. This boss is incredibly difficult to do right. And if you get unlucky, he'll grab you and throw you into the wall, and it just makes you sit and wait. But otherwise, if you like, an easier way to do this is just to, like here, switch to rock and roll and fire in the corner, because he can't knock you into a pit if you're facing this direction. But otherwise, you're trying to punch the computer in the eye, and then you jump in the pit with gridiron. There's a lot of sacrificing the character that just beat the boss in this run. So now here we're going through the last level of the sewers.
That was a bad bird
nice
there.
Save.
I've never gotten bounced back by that bird before. I've only gotten bounced forward by that one, so that was a... It's not a speedrun marathon unless we get to say this has never happened before, right?
Yep. Well, this game is very good at that. It always throws something new at you. Now rock and roll is going to be at max gun shortly at this next gun upgrade. And then basically he's just going to be able to wreck pretty much everything that the game throws at him. Playing it safe. Excellent. And now here's the next boss.
Yep. And we'll be done with the New York sewers here in just a second. Before we travel on. Each one of these levels is like a different part of the world. It's a different Cobra headquarters. So this is the New York level we just took care of. I don't know if you guys noticed all the birds down below. I don't know if that's what New York's actually like, but that's what this game wanted us to think.
Ninja Turtles. I think Ninja Turtles was in New York.
All right. So now we're in the Black Hills. What's that, South Dakota? I don't want my social studies teacher to find out that I don't remember all the famous U.S. landmarks. All right.
So now here's this is where one of the third vehicle. This is the only time you really see this one, but it's very nice. You actually get to use it on the boss.
Yeah, it's not the only time we see it, but it's the only time we see it in this run. It definitely exists elsewhere, but that's all right. This is the time where it's the fastest, because it's so slow left to right, but it's very fast vertically. Now it's my favorite level. 4-2. This vertical maze, where we're doing so much scaling and climbing with Snake Eyes. He just feels like a much more polished character to play with. The fact that his movement ratios seem correct. Like, when you look at this guy's dimensions and he's a ninja and whatnot, like, when you try to jump with rock and roll, you're just like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, he would be last picked on any basketball team. Meanwhile, Snake Eyes is just like, Yeah, when you play a bunch of NES games, they always seem kind of superhuman, jumping like 3 times their height. Snake Eyes fits that prototype the best.
Yeah, and Snake Eyes, his gun actually doesn't use any ammo or anything like that. He uses ninja magic or
Yeah,
something
cool
like
is that?
that.
We'll go back to Snake Eyes here and go just to the melee weapon. Just use his sword when we need to here. We got that little number in the corner there says 3 out of 6. We got 3 more bombs to place here at this Cobra base. So those checks are determined for us as like the optimal locations to take this place down. In typical Taxon fashion, once you beat the game, there is a more difficult second quest and even a third quest in this game. And they put the check marks in different places, sometimes hidden behind secret walls and stuff too. But on the first playthrough, they're pretty visible. That doesn't necessarily mean they're quite easy to get to all the time, but they are easy to find at least.
Yeah, just you got to kind of have your route planned out, and some levels when you don't know the way through them, you're spending a lot of time searching for things, but once you know them, it's just you've got your most efficient route.
Really good climb there. All right, and then one of the toughest bosses here. This guy has so much HP and does so much damage.
And basically, you could get knocked into a pit, you could get knocked all the way down. The goal is to try to damage boost onto the platform. Perfect.
And how cheating is that? We get to use all of Snake Eyes' ninja power to jump and climb that whole level, and then all of a sudden just press pause, and now we have that really big, heavy gun at the top of the screen to take out that boss. That's probably why Rock and Roll can't jump that much. He may be quite the athlete, but the gun is just too heavy.
Yeah, his void, his gun, it's just, you can't do anything with it. Now this boss is also going to be a little, you're doing a lot of, you want to try to avoid these lasers because they'll do a ton of damage to you. And you just want to kind of get close to him. If he shoots, hit him, let the bullet hit you.
Yeah, so the bullets on the screen matter as much as they could possibly, even on a tiny little thing like that, because you want to try and get all 10 of your bullets to connect to that boss as quick as possible so that you can put 10 more on the screen. If you're standing far away from that boss, and you can see, like, even when I'm far away here, just spreading bullets out, like, they're moving slower. So I want those 10 bullets absorbed by the enemy as quickly as possible on that boss there. That way I can get the next wave out there and get out of the level even faster. So you try to get those, you know, obviously you want to kill the enemy as quick as possible, but it also just affects the speed processing of the game. Another pretty easy level here to traverse. Just a couple over some sand dunes here. The maze after this one, the Cobra base, is one of the trickier ones that we'll see. Just not a very good route to go through it. You really have to go like double back in a lot of places the way that it's set up. It's not very optimal. But then 5-3 is by far the most fun. So we're going to hopefully get to that and see that in its prime.
And the boss of this level also has an instant death. If you don't go fast enough, there's an auto scroller and you'll fall into a pit.
Yep. Well, both of them do.
Oh yeah, that's right. Destro does also.
Yeah.
So here you'd think it can't get much worse than this warehouse, but well, the Mission 6, it's very big, but there's really nothing there's nothing that's like, aside from Cobra Commander, that's a really big worry.
Yeah, this one just feels so like it's like there's just like a lot of dead ends that I have to travel to and then travel back to those exact same hallways a lot. There's like 1 or 2 of those in the next one. And obviously the Death Warp takes care of that too, but like this just feels like so much doubling back.
And there's so many false walls and everything that you have to try to deal with.
All right, we see another chopper there, but we're not going to use that. It goes a little bit too slow for our purposes here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the fastest route here is the Buzzbore, which makes everybody sad.
Yeah, the chopper actually isn't particularly fast. There are a couple of places in the game where you can acquire one without too much consequence, but if you don't have to actually like climb, like we use it in 2-1 because you have to climb up a particular hallway that would take forever to do on foot, but it doesn't necessarily make anything particularly fast there. So this one here, however, the Buzzbore, makes everything faster until we lose it. That's all right. We're almost to the end of the level, and we got one more check to get anyway. That's a typical spot, too, where a lot of those enemies can kind of spawn back into place and not be too favorable. I tried to go back over and despawn it, but it did not work. That's been my other little trick I've been working on, is going a little bit further to the right on that side and then despawning a couple of those turrets when I come back. We've gotten it once or twice before, but this bulletproof vest would have been really nice about 30 seconds ago.
And I've noticed the bulletproof vest also seems to make it so like you don't have to deal with as much lag. Like the game doesn't pay attention to how much is on the screen or something. I'm not really sure if that's accurate or not. It's just something I feel like I've noticed.
Yeah, I always would have thought that making your character blink like that would have been more intensive. Like it's like constantly undrawing and redrawing the character, but it always seems to speed up the game. So maybe there's just no processing required for any kind of collision damage. They just turn that off, and it gets it faster. I'm not quite sure the science behind that, but it definitely works. There's a quick punch kill here, and now you get to see probably the most fun level to execute in the game.
Yeah, this next level is so precise, but if you can do it right, it's one of the coolest things in this game.
And we got a unlucky sniper shot there, but we switched the snake eyes in time, so that's all right. Oh, wow. What is the luck on that?
Jeez,
all right.
They are really not making this easy.
That's all right.
Well, this level's really difficult as it is.
Yeah.
So now we're going to take it slow with rock and roll here. Still fine.
Yeah, we got
Rock
max
and roll's
guns, and we do have a
on the
health
boss anyway.
pickup at the end that we can get to, which is nice. Although I probably didn't want to
Yeah,
get that
with
guy.
With this boss, you're going to be doing a lot of tanking. So, like, there's not really a ton you can dodge. Nice grenade toss.
That's been the new way to salvage that, rather than trying to damage boost through and lose some health.
Really good safety strat. So we're just making our way towards Destro here, taking it nice and easy.
I'm not even going to pick up the health. I think we're all right. Just going to watch out for that wave below. And then we got one super fast enemy here. All right, cool. We're in good shape. Let's take out this boss and get to the final Cobra Commander base. So Destro's got two phases. We've got him up here where we got to deal a whole bunch of damage and hopefully not get hit by the ship like that. Oh, that's not great. All right. And then this phase here where we just try to inflict as much damage without falling into pits.
Until he's dead.
Yeah.
Then you want to fall in the pit.
And then we will fall in the pit. And that pit trick there will actually reduce all of Rock and Roll's HP that we've gotten earlier. But that's on purpose. So what's going to happen here is Zero's going to explain what I'm going to do, but you can tell that Rock and Roll's HP is now like at the minimum 9 bars that we started the game with, but that is for good reason.
Yep, there's these guys that throw grenades there, and those grenades will do 4 damage per hit. And you want to have Rock and Roll down to 1 bar of health, because when you get the 8th check, you're really far away from the door there. So you want to be, you can death warp and kill Rock and Roll, and then you'll start right back there at the beginning, and you're really close to the final boss.
Yeah, we mentioned before how this is kind of a maze. Well, the last check mark in this maze is so far away from the exit that it would be faster to just take an intentional death and warp back to the beginning. So we get Rock and Roll down to that 1 HP, we grab the last check, we take 1 hit and immediately die. This is just the most efficient use of our time to get Rock and Roll down to that health level. Otherwise, we'll be surrounded by an enemy who does 1 HP, and we'll have to wait for 9 hits. So we'd rather just take those 2 grenades really quick at 4 HP at a time.
Yeah, and like I'm guessing it'd probably be at least another 2 minutes to walk back.
Oh yeah, it would be insane.
Yeah, why would you want to walk back when you can just take it nice and easy? So here we're got gun upgrade to 3, and like for any percent you can do it with level 2 gun, but it's rough. Let's say that. Mm-hmm. Cobra Commander can turn you into a lizard. There's all sorts of really bad stuff he does. Can he do 5 bars for any of his attacks, or is it 4?
I think it's always 4. Okay. Thankfully. Oh my gosh.
Either way, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
So it's always, if you have extra gun upgrades, can never hurt to go in with an extra gun level. And General Hawk is very good too, because he if you notice, he's got like a little rocket pack. He can kind of hover.
Yeah,
So you're always moving at that jumping speed.
which is unfair. I mean, we could have had this the whole time. He's just been
Yeah.
bossing us around, telling us where to go, and never once has been like, oh, you know what? I'll go help on that mission. Now,
He
granted,
could've been really
he did get
useful in
kidnapped
1,
for mission
2.
5, so we had to go rescue him. But I would have loved him on mission 4. Oh my gosh, can you imagine using him on any of those climbing levels?
Yeah, instead of using gridiron or snake eyes
Yeah.
to jump, General Hawk is just flying.
Yep.
So here we're getting close to the death warp now.
Take that hit.
If you can
Oh,
see
I'm
the
darn.
last check down below.
I usually take that hit there and then start shooting through and damage boost in case those guys throw a laser, but we accidentally grabbed onto the wall. But that's all right. We got max health now, almost max guns, and rock and roll. We're about to very graciously thank you for your service to us this
You've
game.
done a
here.
lot of work getting us here, handled all the bosses, and now you get to go to the infirmary.
Yep. Send him the Purple Heart. All right, and then he warps us back to the beginning. So we're much closer to the exit now.
Yep, we just go straight to the left, and then there's Cobra Commander.
We got 3 little guns we're going to pick up here. We got this one. Oops. There we go. And 2 more down here, and we'll be at max power for the boss. And time will be when the platform stops moving over here on the left side. There's a bit of a flashing light animation with the boss dying right afterwards, so just has some color sensitivity warnings there. All right, I damage boost there on purpose so I can get up here without bumping my head on the thing. Take 4
And now you
HP from a
just sit there
grenade.
and get in his face and just keep firing, and hope you don't get turned into a
That's
lizard
time.
or knocked into a pit. Well done, awesome stuff.
Yeah, even with those 2 deaths there, still right there around the estimate, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, this game can be very unforgiving. You never know where there's bullets will fire at random, and there's so much that can go wrong.
And that's it. We have saved the world. That is G.I. Joe on the NES. This actually got one of the longer, more in-depth NES endings. I'm used to the games that have like 1 or 2 screens of, yeah, good job, game over. And it takes you right back to the title screen. They do a pretty good job telling the story here, showcasing the credits and all the enemies we beat. And then obviously, like I said before, leading you into the second quest. So, but that is G.I. Joe on the NES. One of my favorite games when I was a kid. It hasn't been getting so much love on the leaderboard lately, but it definitely was a little bit more active around the Big 20 this past year, back in March. I would always recommend this game. This is one of those NES games to me that is kind of a gem that people kind of overlook because they think, it's an intellectual property game. It's probably not that great. It's probably a bad port. Now, this is an excellent port. I don't know about Atlantis Factor so much, but this one in particular, especially the music and the controls, it just plays really, really well. So I appreciate you letting me guys showcase this today. I appreciate Zero the 14th there on commentary, and obviously everything that you guys are doing for Urban Arts here. Let's see those donations rolling in. We got some great things coming up, and I'll see you guys on Thursday for the 70-star Super Mario 64 Marathon. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and hope you stick around.